If you've been curious about what is inside of All About Reading Level 1, then this video is for you. Let's take a page-by-page look into the teacher's manual, the 3 reading books, and the student pages. Be aware first that this program also comes with additional parts like sight word cards and individual letter magnet tiles for activities, but I will not be giving a ton of visuals of those items because they are pretty self-explanatory. Like sight word cards are used similarly to flashcards, and magnet letter tiles are to focus on the changing spelling of words within lessons. But now let's go ahead and get into the flip through. First, let's take a look at the teacher's manual. In the manual, you will notice that there are 2 types of lessons throughout it. New concept lessons and story lessons, okay? In the new concept lessons, you will work on the new phonograms and words, and in the story lessons, you will focus on practicing concepts learned by reading stories. This is where vocabulary and comprehension strategies are emphasized and where you will use one of 3 readers included in the curriculum, which I will show you later. In the teacher's manual, you will find clearly outlined areas in each lesson. There is a portion called Before You Begin. Here's where it would be in your best interest to read the section before doing a lesson. I prefer reading it the day before to avoid delaying our homeschooling by needing the time to read it. This is a helpful portion of the book as it preps you on what needs to be understood in the lesson. It may give you directions on an activity, explain phonograms you will be teaching, or introduce new terminology. Though this may be prep work on the parent's part, this is very easy to do and not difficult, in my opinion. It never takes more than a few minutes to do the prep work as well. In the review sections of the manual, you will be prompted to begin your lessons with a review of previously taught concepts. And this is where you would need your sight word and letter sound cards for this part of the lesson. In the new teaching section, you will find hands-on multisensory parts to the lesson. Your kid will work with the letter tiles and activity sheets while working on comprehension, vocabulary, and fluency. I would also like to state that these worksheets are never asking your child to fill out answers or to write a bunch of lengthy things. These sheets are games and fun ways of learning. They do require some work on the parent's part by doing things like cutting out parts of the paper for activities, maybe using a stapler. If you are nervous or unsure how you will teach your child these reading concepts, then All About Reading is a great program for you. In the new teaching section, you will notice you are never left wondering what to say or do. The curriculum gives you the exact words, phrases, and questions to say. The transitions into the next part of the lessons are clear, so you never have to guess what part of the activities to move on to. And you will grow very comfortable with the layout of this program and how it works within just a few lessons due to the repetition. In the Read Aloud section of the lessons, you will be reminded to spend about 20 minutes a day reading. We didn't follow this to a T and it was fine. My child read to me in this section though, but you could choose to read to your child. The curriculum does mention modeling good reading habits. In All About Reading Level 1, some of the lessons are longer and some of them are shorter. We choose to never do more than 1 lesson a day, but the curriculum does mention doing more lessons than 1 if your child is comprehending fast and finishes lessons quickly. In some of the lessons that are longer, you may find it hard to complete the lessons in 1 sitting, and that is perfectly okay. We chose ourselves to never go over 20 minutes a day, and if we finished the lesson before the 20 minutes, then we just moved on to another subject altogether, finishing reading for the day. You can choose what method is best for you and your family, and also if your kid isn't ready to move on even after finishing the lesson, you can always redo the lesson to work on comprehension, or you could create your own exercises that go along with the lesson and move on after they have eventually mastered the concept. In All About Reading Level 1, your child will be working on phonological awareness by learning techniques for syllable counting, isolating sounds in simple 3 to 4 letter words, and practicing phonemic substitution. They will work on vocabulary by discussing new words in the context of stories, as well as in their own life. The program does give you questions and discussions to prompt conversation about their own life. They will also work on connecting new words to familiar words. And to practice fluency, they will work on reading with accuracy and meaningful expression, such as exclamation points, question marks, other things like that. To work on comprehension, All About Reading will connect text to your child's own experience, work on understanding dialogue, give opinions to discuss, and set a purpose for reading. Your child will learn phonograms A through Z, and consonant teams like TH, CH, SH, CK, NG, and NK. They will read words ending with FF, LL, and SS, such as hill and kiss. Your child will also learn initial blends and final blends. They will also learn about plural words with suffixes and compound words. Also, a side note, the way that this curriculum teaches kids how to read compound words in a simple way was a game changer for my kid. Now that we have discussed the teacher's manual, let's take a look at the student pages. Now, I have already torn out the pages and stored them in this binder, so the clips will be a bit choppy as I have to pull pages from the binder. The Blast Off to Reading activity book contains a progress chart, a read aloud record, activity sheets, warm-up and practice sheets, and a certificate of completion. The progress chart is there to help motivate students with a visual reminder of their progress toward becoming an independent reader. All About Reading recommends removing the progress chart from the student book and placing it somewhere it can be easily seen and accessed by your child. And they will place stickers on their chart as they progress through the curriculum. The Read Aloud record is pretty self-explanatory. You just track your read aloud time as you go. The activity sheets are the best part of the student workbook. They provide a variety of ways to practice what they've learned in a lesson. I can say from experience, my daughter found these activity sheets entertaining and was always ready to do this part of a lesson. Basic supplies needed to complete these activities are scissors, a stapler, crayons or markers, and a pencil. As I've stated before, when you do these sheets, you never have to worry about it being dull paperwork that is dry or boring. Sometimes your child will have to feed a monster words once they have correctly read the words out loud. Sometimes you will have a sequence puzzle where your kid will need to remember the order of a story to solve it. There are plenty of games, and these games kept my daughter engaged every time. Beyond the activity sheets, there are also practice sheets. The practice sheet gives your child reading words that reflect newly learned concepts. So you will see 3 sections on the practice sheets. They are new words, phrases, and sentences. These pages aren't crucial, and if you skip them, it is not the end of the world. What we do with these sheets is I will say the words, phrases, and sentences, and my daughter will repeat after me. We chose to do this as I don't want to fatigue her brain before she even gets to the read aloud that applies the words and phrases, but I also wanted her familiar with them so that she doesn't feel confused when doing the read aloud that comes with the curriculum. We find this is the best way to use the practice sheets for our family. Lastly, the warm-up sheets prime your child for the coming story used for the read aloud. It will introduce some characters or objects found in the story and give an opportunity to create conversation by asking what they know about the person or object. You may also find question prompts to help your child relate to the story in some way to help make the reading more engaging. Now let's move on to the read alouds included in the curriculum. All About Reading Level 1 comes with 3 readers. There are 3 books that progressively become more sophisticated as your child learns and comprehends new reading concepts. The stories in book 1 start very simple. It starts with 1 to 3 word sentences, and by the end of the 3rd book, the sentences are more lengthy and have various expressions like quotation marks to understand conversation with the story and so much more. The illustrations are very clear and they help give clues to the words your child may have trouble sounding out or comprehending. You will read 1 to 2 stories per lesson. The curriculum also encourages reading stories multiple times before moving on to encourage fluent reading and better understanding. While your child reads each story, you will find a page in each lesson giving you prompts for questions or discussions to have as the story progresses. This is just to further give opportunity for comprehension during the story. Now, they do feel like large books considering it is for new readers, but once you begin to dive into these books, you realize the stories really are bite-sized and go perfectly with each lesson. By the end of the curriculum, your child will have read all 3 books completely. Are you curious what an actual lesson in this curriculum looks like? If so, click this video over here to see an actual lesson being done. I'll see you over there and have fun homeschooling.